If you run a small recruitment agency, you don't have time to manually sift hundreds of CVs. Smart Sifty does it for you. It screens, shortlists, and ranks candidates instantly, fairly, and consistently, so you can focus on actually placing people, not drowning in admin. Less bias, less time wasted, more placements. If you're serious about running a smarter, more efficient agency, go to smartsifty.com and book a demo today.
What great ideas are so close within your grasp? Seeing other points of view, anticipating change, considering multiple possible turnouts, acknowledging uncertainty, searching for compromise. We're going to talk about how to get over those limiters of innovation so that you can extract better thinking from yourself and your team. So let's talk about how to win the future.
This week's episode is a bit different because we're not just talking about recruitment, we're talking about identity, performance, and what actually makes people stand out in a world where everyone looks the same on paper. I'm joined by Daen Fox, recruiter and yes, DJ, who's built a reputation for challenging the way we think about job titles, labels, and what people are really capable of. From transforming businesses to performing behind the decks, Daen's built a career by refusing to stay in one lane. And in this conversation, we get into why job titles might be holding people back, why curiosity is becoming a competitive advantage, and how actually to perform at the highest level without burning out. So if you've ever felt boxed in by your role, or you're trying to build a team that thinks outside the box, this one is for you. Welcome back, everybody, to the Marketing Rules podcast. It is my pleasure to welcome on board today Daen Fox, DJ Daen Fox, but we will touch on that a little bit kind of later on. Daen, it is a pleasure to have you on board with us today. For those people that, I don't know, for those people who might only know you as DJ Daen Fox, right? Let's tell us a bit about what you kind of do as a day job, right? Tell us about the kind of the TA part of your kind of your life and how you got into that.
Yeah, so awesome to be on this podcast. So I am Daen Fox. I've been in recruitment now for way over a decade. And I'm the innovator. I'm the Mr. Come in, transform, change, innovate, inspire, empower, really just put human beings back in the heart of this ever increasing digital world. That's what I do for my day job. Mm-hmm. I am a fixer. But then because the market's so crazy, it took me on a complete tangent to where my side hustle, my love for music, took me into DJing. Mm-hmm. So now I do a bit of both, do corporate events, but then also contract in the world of recruitment and empower businesses, set them up for success, go off to another business.
Yeah. TA by day and kind of DJ by night, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. Obviously we've both kind of, I do a little bit of DJing as maybe some of the listeners know. I'm not on anywhere near on the scale as yourself.
Yes,
but we do share a love for music, and we'll pick this up at the end, right? We can kind of riff on this a little bit. But I wanted to kind of kick off today, right? Because I've been following you on LinkedIn, and you're pretty kind of vocal on LinkedIn. You've got some pretty kind of strong opinions around kind of labeling people and job titles, defining people, and what that actually means in a kind of professional context. So that is kind of what I would like us to kind of discuss today, right? And let's kind of kick off with that kind of question. You say kind of people shouldn't really let labels or job titles define them. What does that kind of mean in a professional context? How does that kind of roll out, right?
Yeah, so I'm neurodiverse, and I've always grew up masculine in order to fit into the normal world. And you almost have your superpowers. I know Nitin, our friend, disagrees with the word superpowers, but I just do disagree with that. Our superpowers have been removed from us. The quirkiness, the ability to fixate onto a certain subject has been taken away from us because you have to adapt and just almost become a sheep. Whereas if everyone's just themselves and they bring their best selves to work, you get so much more out of people. So what I love about this podcast, for instance, I'm looking at our names right now: Daen Fox, James Whitelock. it's not director, investor, it's not Dane, DJ, or head of. It's just us, because we are so much more than our job titles. Like, I'm a dad. Like, I go to Marks and Spencer or Sainsbury's or wherever, and so do you. It's like we're all human beings. We've all invented these job titles, and if anything, we can all do a mix of all sorts. I hate anybody being put into the bucket of you can only do this, and that is that. And that's what the recruitment industry in the UK does so terribly. CVs, for instance, they're just a foot in the door. We look at job titles, and that is it. Really, we should be looking at the skills and experience that somebody's got, and almost doing a job match. That's what we should be doing in recruitment, is job matching people. Like, would I have hired me as a DJ? No, because I've been where on my CV is Dane's music ability? Where is Dane's love for vinyls? Like, people would say, don't put your love for vinyl records on your CV. You're mad. But in recruitment, like, you speak to people on a daily basis, you sell yourself, you put yourself on social media, you create experiences, you innovate, you improve. You have to be really good with tech. A lot of those skills, guess what? You need them in the music world.
Yeah.
And that's why I've smashed it in both recruitment and on the music scene, because I am Daen Fox.
We'll come to the music. I promise you, we will come to the music. Why do you think that this mindset has become more important in kind of today's working world? And particularly in recruitment.
Yeah, because like human beings, we're creatures of habit. It takes a long time to ingrain a new habit, especially the older you get. If you want to start talking about neurons and all that kind of business, I've got a master's degree in psychology. That's a conversation for another day.
Sure.
But we just get so set in our ways. We just want to be comfortable. We want to live in that cave, and it's harder to get out of the cave. But COVID really switched everything up on its head, to the point where I was doing video interviews before COVID. That became the norm. And then before you know it, companies are driving people back into the office, like falling into old ways, where really we had such an opportunity to really shift our focus and not just become what we're labeled as. Like, that was an amazing opportunity for the UK to be like, actually, you work where you want to work. We'll get the best out of you at home, in the office. Right. So we need you to absolutely smash it in the world of marketing or recruitment or whatever it might be, or finance. Okay. But how you get there, you do your thing. You're the expert. If you need help along the way, some people do, great. Make mistakes, great. But we want people that are going to come in and just really take us to that next level. Instead, we give everyone the same script, follow this little system operation procedure, talk to the candidates in this particular way, take the marketing brief in this particular way. And it's just so copy and paste.
Yeah.
Going way back to your first question, why is it so important now? In a world where AI can do all of that, how are you going to stand out?
Yeah.
How are you going to keep the money coming in?
Yeah. Taking that into account then, so, are job titles useful, useless? What's the point of them from your perspective now? Do they have a point?
I would be as controversial as saying job titles are irrelevant. The duty that you've been tasked to do is what's relevant. So, like, you work in HR, you work in marketing. Okay, how are you going to market this company? Go crack on. Call yourself whatever you want to call yourself.
Yeah.
It's just, if that's your identity, great. Like, some people need that identity. Like, if I'm speaking to like a director or a CEO, they at least need to know what division I'm in, and they need to know like my experience and like my credibility, and that's where like the job titles come to the fore. But do you really need them? No, not really. You've been recruited at a certain level to go and perform a job. So like, whether I'm a recruitment administrator or head of recruitment, I'm there to get the best people for that organization, to make the hiring managers' lives really easy, and for those individuals to come in, stay, and smash it out of the park, and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah. So taking that into consideration, can people kind of like over-identify with their role and their kind of job title,
100%.
and that kind of then starts to define them as opposed to what they actually do and their skill sets and things like that? And if they do, what's the antidote to that? So there's kind of two parts to that kind of question.
Yeah. So the answer is I think as human beings, we resonate so much with stories in ways that, because when we were kids, we get read stories, and a lot of them stick with us to this day. So when you're trying to sort of change behaviors or try and fix things or get people to see clearly, do it through a story that they can resonate with. It's going to like intrinsically stick with them. So I work for a care company, Trinity Care, and work with a great team. And one of the straplines really for carers should have been this. So like carers in the UK do not get cared for at all. Like they're not respected the way they should be. Same with nursery workers in the childcare setting. Sticking to carers, like you might speak to a carer, they're just a carer. But what do? They give medicine. They're just a carer. They're someone's best friend 24/7. They're just a carer. Like they're with those people, holding their hands with their families or at home snuggled in bed when that person's crying, but they're just a carer. Are they just a carer? No, it's not. It's Diane. It's Josephine. It's whoever it is. They just happen to be performing the role of a carer at that moment in time, but really they're doing it as Josephine because they care from the bottom of their heart for that person, that patient.
Yeah.
And that can be applied to any job that we do.
Yeah. And so kind of coming back to the question, I can see that that's the kind of antidote to kind of, taking your job title to that degree. But still you think that some people people definitely need the comfort of having a title.
Yeah.
Because one, it kind of helps them define themselves within that business. They know where they sit. And it also allows them, I guess, to see progression within that business from, I don't know, assistant to manager, from manager to da-da-da-da-da. So surely in that sense, it gives people this sense of place within a business. Whereas if we allow them to kind of either determine their job title and maybe even determine part of their role, some of that might get lost, and you might start to kind of alienate some of the people within a business. So this is me playing devil's advocate, right? You know what I mean? And kind of pushing it back on you.
So at a base level, a base structure, absolutely. Like the structure's there, like admin, unit manager, whatever. Okay, head of recruitment, okay. But what do they actually do? So you could evolve that. So like HR administrator, but in brackets, like the keywords are some of the key things they're trying to achieve, or the objective, or the outcome. We're just so fixated on that one particular word. So like, who do I go to if I need this? HR admin. Who do I go to if I need somebody to look at like my 5-year plan for the business? Head of TA. How is it going to be achieved? The whole team together.
Yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to agree, right? I mean, I do run my business, Thinking Circles, in a similar way, right? I don't put a huge amount of credence on job titles. As an example, we've got a new starter this week who's looking after sales and business development. And it was like, he asked me what his job title was. And I was like, well, you pick, whatever you want to be, right?
Yeah.
I said, the only thing you probably couldn't be is a manager because you've got no one to manage, right? So in that sense, this is your role. So you kind of like, you make it your own. And I guess that possibly is because this is a new role, it's a new person, and it's not an existing one or being kind of filled as previously. So I'm kind of wondering if it's easier sometimes for smaller agile businesses to kind of work in this sense than it is maybe for larger corporates that really rely on systems and processes and layers, and again, you might be in a better position you're obviously in a better position to answer this because your clients will be in this corporate sphere. So how does this go down, right, when you have these conversations with your clients?
I'll give you an example where I'd say for the first half of my time at BT, I would say we did it really well, where you'd almost have like your own sort of sections within the business, like your own little businesses, your micro businesses within a bigger business. So although for a big business like BT, you are just a number, unfortunately. But tell you what, it's that to the corporate units division or to the media division, your name, you knew your HR VPs, your stakeholders, they knew you, They knew what you could bring to the table. You really worked together really well, and it was bliss. It was perfect. So were we rated job titles? To an extent, yeah. We all knew who was going to do who was going to be that supporting element, who was going to be like that sort of like that link to the rest of the wider business. So that's where it worked great. Whereas you get too many businesses. I won't name any names, but like they just get too complex, and you just get a bit lost in the ether. People have only got so much energy and bandwidth within a day to be able to try and get things done, so they just end up just doing what they need to do and they go home. But those businesses are the ones that are struggling and under administration, and you've got the new businesses that have like your business, for instance, that are a bit more cutting edge. And as it grows as well, you're probably not going to lose a lot of those elements unless you copy and paste what other companies have done. And then guess what happens? You then end up getting replaced yourself. So you've got to scale organically and keep innovating constantly and not lose sight of where you came from.
And on a kind of similar note, do you think kind of people who kind of operate beyond their defined role ultimately perform better? Or does it depend on their environment, depend where they work, depends on their personality? You know, if you kind of give them a bit of that freedom, is that as positive as it sounds it should be, basically?
Yeah, like everyone needs support. Everyone needs support. Some people don't realize how much support they need. Some people are a lot more self-aware and they know they need a lot of support. And you've got different types of energy as well. I don't really agree with the term introvert and extrovert. It's more energy. It's that you play the piano. Is that an introverted piano player or an extrovert? No, it's the same. But you just get to know your people, your friends, your circle, your community, and between each other, you understand who needs what. Some people like are more self-reliant than others, so you let them crack on, monitor their work. You're basically looking at their output. Or in all of this, the bottom line is the output. What's the end result? How do they get there? How much support does one person need?
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the best thing I ever did in life was seeing a therapist, because it really helped me unlock a lot of my potential, made me more self-aware. Like, I am so open and authentic. If I've made a mistake, I'd rather just fess up and say, here's what's happened, because then we can do something about it rather than it sort of snowballing and getting out of hand.
Thinking Circles is your fractional marketing department, purpose-built for the recruitment industry with deep sector experience. We consult with recruitment agencies, talent teams, and HR and rep tech companies to deliver strategic marketing leadership with tangible results. Our proven approach enables you to attract top talent, drive client growth, and build standout employer brands. As a flexible extension of your team, we offer the insight and support you need to make smarter marketing decisions without the cost or complexity of hiring in-house. And so kind of taking that as an example, right, for someone listening or watching today, what's the kind of simple way that they can start operating kind of beyond their job title without causing friction, you know what I mean, or causing kind of upset, you know what I mean, who wants to work in this manner, but you know, there might be in a working environment that isn't really used to it. You know, I mean, how do you start to kind of push this, you know?
So again, everything's a results-based business. We're in a results-based life. Gandhi's famous expression is, be the change you want to see. For all of his faults, that's one thing that always sticks with me. So you operate according to their little rule book or whatever they is, with it within the confines of that. However, you also have that 20 to 30% scope of creativity. Here's an alternative way of doing things. And you can sort of test it to yourself to see if it works. And then you can present it to the team. If it works for them as well, you then present that upwards. You might get some roadblocks along the way. Okay, but don't lose sight, because you know you've tested it, it works. It comes down to timing. If it takes 6 months to get that across the board, then it is what it is. It might take a year. Sometimes you get instant gratification. It's like, great, crack on and do it. You love it. But when it works and you knew, you've been patient, you tried it a couple of times, and eventually it comes through, and the rest of the business are doing it, it's almost like getting a bonus, except it's not monetary.
Yeah. And then if we kind of look a bit forward into the future, someone moves ahead in their career, because might be more relevant to someone who's at the start or in the middle of their career. So someone who's looking ahead, and do job titles really become kind of less relevant as your career evolves, or does it kind of like bubble? It becomes less relevant somewhere in the middle, but soon if you ever become a CEO, then it's incredibly relevant. I don't know what's your kind of thoughts on that?
I've worked for so many companies, big and small, startups, and people. The common theme of when it comes to CEOs, for instance, is what do they actually do? But until you get like close to them, or you run your own business, actually, there's just so much they do. It's the flapping swan analogy, where they're bashing crazy under the water, but on the surface, they've got to be seen as the steady, like they are the brand of the business. The higher up the food chain you get, absolutely, I feel like your job title should be less relevant, because you want to be involved with your people and know what's going on. The minute you let that slip is when you're going to start to wane, and you just play the political game. And you play the political game, you wanna route to nowhere.
Yeah. One of the other things that we're going to pivot slightly. One of the other things you've talked about online is about curiosity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you see that kind of curiosity in a kind of a work environment is it a mindset? Is it a skill? Is it something that can be systemized? Because you do talk about this kind of stuff, right? And,
Yeah.
I really kind of it resonates with me, and I'm sure it resonates with a lot of other people. But it's interesting to just dive a little bit deeper into that. What you kind of mean by that when you're kind of talking about that in a workplace setting?
Yeah, like as a kid, right, and I've got two young kids myself. Like, it's one of our best traits as human beings. We weren't curious. We'd never invent anything, and I suppose that's where having a neurodiversity is a strength. Whether it's ADHD, autism, could be any dyslexia. Because we're sort of broken to an extent where it's a lot harder to beat that curiosity out of us, because it's just always there, and we get a bit fixated on our special interest. Whereas the stereotypical, there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, but like your neurotypical, whoever that might be, like I don't think anybody's normal, they sort of conform, and the curiosity disappears, and they become like a steady eddy, and that's where the innovation drops. You just become robots. And then as we move into an age where AI can take over, it's the experience, the curiosity, it's you as a human being, how you're going to connect with other people to get that end result that's going to keep you above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you weren't curious, you're not creative, then I don't know, I think you just lose your spark in life, and you become a bit more sad, a bit more depressed.
And so what do you think can suppress that kind of curiosity within businesses? Even when they value it, right? I mean, a lot of businesses will say that they value it, right? But I'm sure it's almost kind of lip service a lot of the time. To be curious, to be entrepreneurial, to be this, to be that, right?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, to be creative. What really stops that within businesses?
Well, I've heard that before, especially in my most recent company. I won't name their name, but like they're a well-known surveying business. It's like, Daen, you're brilliant. However, this business isn't right for you. And I'm like, what? So you're openly admitting that you're not innovative, you don't want to change, you're just happy to be where you are, despite the fact there's lots of competition on like knocking at your door, memberships are dropping, and you wonder why this is happening. Yeah. You'd be better off in a different company where like they've got the same mindset as you. It's that culture.
Yeah.
Is take it like you come to our business, come to work, do a job, go home. We don't really care about anything else. Like, what business, when they start out, ever thinks that's where we want to be? Like, I would love that so much. My workers come to work, do a job, and they go home. I want my people to come to work and love what they do, like to be excited, to know that like they can try new things and make mistakes. But do you know what? Like, we're in it together. As long as we learn from it, like there's no like bad malice or intent behind it, or it's not something completely disastrous. They're the companies that are the best, and I think you get that a lot more in startups.
I'm inclined to agree that there's that kind of that's kind of enthusiasm of starting a business with founders and things that helps that. The other thing I think that always we see a lot that can stifle this is the phrase, "This is how we've always done it."
Yeah.
right? I think that's a real kind of killer and a real kind of buzzkill of creativity when within any business. This is always how we've always done it. I think can really put kind of people off. Daen, before we kind of wrap up, I want to touch on the kind of the music part, right? Because this is the other kind of passion within your life, and actually, it's one of the reasons how I know you, and then we connected, and I kind of know the TA aspect of you. Where did this love of music kind of come from? Is it the typical thing, you've got parents who used to kind of play music all the time, or have you kind of picked up at university, or have you got, did you used to go clubbing a lot or something? I know where was this seed, right, that kind of led you down this route?
So my brother used to be a DJ in some of the local nightclubs, and he did a bit of mobile as well. So in my bedroom growing up, we had the big speakers, the CDJs, the turntables. So the only way I could play music is if I did it through his DJ kit and equipment. Mm-hmm. The funniest thing is, he hasn't influenced me with music because he loved this trance and dance, and that ain't my kind of vibe. I like my soul and my R&B. Whereas like my family, like, it's a mixture of Jamaican and Irish. So it's like your reggae, it's your Motown, it's your soul, R&B, garage, bit of pop. Watching like your NSYNCs, your Backstreet Boys and your Spice Girls on TV as well, and like the euphoria behind that. So I went from being, I wanted to be a singer, entertainer, songwriter. I never considered ever being a DJ myself. It's like, cause I only ever thought of like Disco Dave's, like earning £100 at the local pub.
Yeah.
But the irony is, my partner, my wife's father-in-law is a karaoke host at a local pub to us, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's such a character. And he bought a property in Spain about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, "Can you cover for me?" I knew what I was doing with the DJ stuff. I used to go support him. I used to go watch him and I love karaoke. Can't sing, but I like to think I'm Will Smith when I'm rapping. The white Will Smith.
I have seen you do that, and it's always good fun. Yeah.
So I took over, and then people liked me, and then I was making like £100 a night, and it just sort of escalated to the point where I said to Lucy, I said, "This is gonna like give us enough money for like holidays and stuff." All the money I was making is like holiday money. Like 5 weeks ago, I booked to go to Disneyland Paris for like $4,000. It's because I'm charging a premium because of the experience my people get. To the point where I don't really need to go back into the board of recruitment. Like, I built myself up to a certain level where I feel like I've completed recruitment. And it's like, that's why I like to go into businesses now and fix things. And I absolutely love recruitment. I really do. But working like a 9 to 5 permanently for somebody else when I can easily make more money now, bearing in mind I made triple figures in recruitment, and I'm now making that in the music world. And I can work when I want, with who I want. Like tonight, I'm going to go do karaoke in London for a few hours.
You are,
like, I know some people they'd make that in a month. I'm making it in one night. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But like, for me, the money is a byproduct. I do it because I love it. Before the podcast today, I was at a care home, giving them like an absolute show of Irish music, bit of Elvis, bit of all the stuff they love, getting them dancing. And it's like, I get to connect with so many different people through music, and I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for the music.
Yeah, exactly. I know. The first time I saw you coming along with all the DJ kit, and I went straight up to have a look at the what the kit was, because for me, I quite like all the tech. I like all the kind of stuff that goes around with it. With regards to kind of like your kind of DJing, can you DJ with kind of vinyl? Can you do all that kind of? Yeah, because I find that particularly hard, right? I mean, I've only given it a go a couple of times. And for anyone listening, one of the kind of remits to be a half decent DJ is you have got to be able to beat match. I find that nigh on impossible on vinyl. It's all very easy on the kind of on the CDJs, right? If you do get lost, there's always a button you can press, basically, which I try to avoid. But vinyl is incredibly all very, very difficult. Yeah, kind of sitting there trying to ride the tempo is always kind of is a nightmare for me. So huge respect being able to kind of to do that old school as well, right? I think that's a great talent to have.
When I first got into my controller, it's like a rocket ship, all these different buttons. I was like, what are all these? FX, crossfader, stems. But like now, I'm just like I can be talking to you and I can mix.
Yeah. Daen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast today. As always, we'll always include all of your details in the kind of show notes. If anybody wants to know more about you, about the music career, about the TA kind of work, then they can kind of connect you through that. But for now, thank you very much.
See you later, peeps.
Thanks for listening. And don't forget, you can subscribe to the Marketing Rules podcast on Apple, Spotify, and all other major podcasting platforms. I've been your host, James Whitelock, and I hope you can join me and more amazing guests next time. The Marketing Rules podcast is a Think in Circles production.